I hope that they're open to actually fixing some of these problems rather than just band-aiding them. I understand that they're trying to launch the game. And at least that is what it feels like to me, man. It feels like they're trying to get this motherfucker out. And I get that, and that's cool. And I want to play it. I want to play this game. I don't want to be playing anything else. I just want to play this fucking game, dude. And I want to play it. But all right. So this video is going to be about the new Cycle Frontier launch update. They have a new dev diary out where they're covering like 12 different design decisions that they learned from the closed beta and the things that they're changing from beta to launch. I don't know if the launch date is in this or not. We'll have to see. I haven't read that far through it. I only read like the first point, and then I was like, this is going to be a good YouTube video. So let's do that. And I'm going to get my thoughts, and then we'll talk about stuff and we'll discuss it, and we'll see what everybody thinks. So Dev Diary Part 12, Game Design Teachings from Closed Beta 2. Now that Closed Beta has ended, we felt it was important to discuss our techniques from Closed Beta 2 and draw a picture of the future. Good. We need that. One of my big complaints was that a lot of the feedback that I would give and other streamers would give and other content creators would give, we wouldn't know like what their plan was. I couldn't direct my feedback towards that vision. You know what I mean? So I'm happy that they're going to kind of explain it a little bit. Now that Closed Beta has ended, we felt it was important to discuss our teachings from Closed Beta 2 and draw a picture of the future lying ahead for the cycle. Good. With a combination of business intelligence, community sentiment, and player feedback, we have a much clearer picture of what we need to do. So I'm going to preface this with the fact that a lot of the creators have been very vocal. The creators have cared. That's all I got to say. Like, if you think about any of the people that have been that streamed the cycle throughout the entire beta and, you know, consistently played it, didn't like, you know, step away from it, whatever, like we all played it, right? All those people, those are the people I'm talking about. Those are the people that we have been very vocal and very loud about what we think the game needs to be a great success. We all love the game, right? And that's where all of the feedback comes from. We're just having a nice discussion over the ideas, right? That's kind of the whole point, is having a discussion to be able to outline the success that the cycle can have and the things that they're doing to make that happen. So what do we plan to do for release? Right now, we are concentrating on our efforts on several crucial points for release: power progression, weapon balancing, campaign, matchmaking, dungeon, and social. We gathered a lot of great feedback from all fronts. Some of them we addressed with our weekly patches, which allowed us to better figure out our impact. Now that the beta has ended, we are taking a look at the feedback and data to receive our different patches in order to evaluate the best course of action for release regarding our PvP. Here are the different topics regarding weapon balancing and power progression that we feel were the most important. Power progression. The fact that the power progression curve gives a big advantage to better geared players was a big point of frustration. Yes. So just so you guys know what this really is like, if you had a good weapon, doesn't matter how shit you were able to win fights, right? A really, really good player with a worse weapon would still lose most of the time. Not all the time, most of the time. That was a big problem. In short, we're looking to find a sweet spot where you always have a chance at fighting back, even when facing the best gear, while making sure that deploying with the best gear is worth the risk. Sounds good to me. I want to be able, doesn't matter what I'm running, as long as I'm a good player, I should be able to outfight a player with good gear. But he has a good point. He wants the gear to feel, we also want the best gear to feel like it's worth the investment, right? Makes total sense. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. The gear should feel worth the investment. Yes, it should. But it shouldn't just outright win you fights. So based on your feedback and our teachings for Closed Beta 2, here is our attention for release. Please note that although we are confident with these changes, nothing is set in stone, and we will make sure to take future tests and feedback into account for our final changelog. I already read this part and I'm already mad about it. So more diminishing returns on our penetration versus armor formula. The best gear, epic and exotic, will not be as powerful against lower tier gear, common, uncommon, and rare. The progression in armor and penetration values on shields and weapons now also have diminishing returns. Upgrading from common to uncommon will give more armor and penetration than upgrading from rare to epic. So basically what they're doing is they're making it a curve instead of a straight line up, right? So they're saying like, oh, it's more of like a plateau, right? So like you get up to like uncommon and then it kind of like plateaus off as far as like the power curve goes. I think this is a lazy solution to the problem. I don't think this is the correct fix for this problem. I think it's a fast fix for the problem. I think it will do something. I don't disagree with the fact that it will do something. What it will do is still cause frustrations for the players. And let me explain my point. So whenever you have a exotic weapon and you're shooting a person with an uncommon shield, right? Your visual feedback is going to be that person has an uncommon shield, because that's the only visual feedback that we have. I have an exotic weapon. I'm going to shred him, right? Or I'm going to do good damage to him. But what this is saying is that it basically caps off. It doesn't really cap it, but it basically caps it, right? On the amount of damage that you can do once you get past uncommon. My point is, and a lot of my points with a lot of the changes that this game dev team has made, they consistently add systems to the game that don't allow the player to realize they exist. A new player, once they have an uncommon piece of gear or an exotic piece of gear, they will not realize what is happening, and they will see, I have good gun, they have worse gear, I win. But that's not going to be what's happened. And I'm not saying that is what should happen, but they won't be able to understand that, right? They won't know this. They won't read this and understand this, right? The only people that are reading this right now are me and you and the people that are going to play this game no matter the fuck what, right? Casuals, the people that are going to play on day one that just heard about it from Joe Schmo around the street, are not going to understand this system. They're not going to understand how this fucking works, and they're going to get frustrated by it. This is a lazy fix to the penetration problem. Penetration in general adds complication to damage in this game. Adding more complexity and adding complication to things that, one, are not visibly recognizable to the player, and two, just make balancing in general way more difficult, are not good systems. Instead of realizing that and realizing that's where the feedback is coming from, they are leaning more into the system and just saying, we're just going to turn it off basically after this part, right? We're just going to diminish all the returns after this point in progression. That doesn't help with we also want to make gear feel like it's worth the time investment, right? Because now it just feels like, why would I run anything past uncommon? Because penetration is what they're using to scale the power and progression, they are having these problems. You remove penetration and you think about different ways to have an exotic weapon be an exotic weapon. Maybe it has more ammo, maybe it has a faster reload time, things like that, rather than does more damage, right? This is a bad solution to this system, and I've been talking about this for months now, and I'm upset because I've been very loud about this. It does not mean I'm right. I just don't see how this is a good solution to this problem. These two changes will make it so upgrading to uncommon or rare gear should be really significant, while epic and exotic gear should feel more like a luxury improvement for prospectors that can afford them. You literally just contradicted yourself, bro. Like, okay. They still give you a significant enough advantage in PvP to potentially make a difference, but not so much that you can't be challenged by low tier gear. We'll see. Again, the player is not going to understand. They won't have any visual feedback on why this is happening. I understand that is kind of the common way that these games work, right? These hardcore survival-based lobby games. When you shoot somebody, you don't really understand what armor they have. Like, let's use Marauders, the most recent example of another game that's coming out in this genre. In Marauders, all of the armor is visually different. So you can see when you're shooting somebody what armor they have. And then based on you knowing the knowledge of, I've had that armor before in game, I know how much armor it has, right? Then you can understand. That makes sense in your brain because you're shooting somebody, he has chunky armor. I know it has 12 armor because I've had it before. This system, the penetration system, is completely different from that. All of the armors look exactly the same. The only way you can tell if somebody's wearing an armor is after you shoot them. After you have shot them, then you can tell, right? Then also, because penetration is doing a calculation on a per bullet rate, there's no way of knowing, and we don't have damage numbers, right? We can't see damage numbers. There's no way of knowing how much fucking damage you're actually doing and how much damage you're negating based on your armor, right? You can't figure that out. And the only people that are going to know that are people like me that have looked into it and other people that have looked into it. And now we have to share the knowledge ourselves rather than the devs just making it a fucking simple system. It just doesn't make sense. It's a bad system. And my problem is I think penetration is so fucking ingrained into the code base that they can't rip it out. And now they have to just deal with this problem, right? And they're trying, but I don't think this is a good solution. Will it kill the game? No. Will it add to frustration? Yes. Now, a lot of different frustration points all together. Will that kill a game? Yes. My focus is trying to limit the amount of frustration that players feel while they're playing. And this is one of those things that they're going to be frustrated about. On a parallel topic, during closed beta 2, we reduced the armor value of higher tier helmets. The initial intention was to allow players that are skilled enough to land more headshots to be able to more quickly take down better gear players. But also had the side effect to reduce considerably the time to kill in exotic versus exotic situations. For example, when we did the modification, we thought it was a desirable side effect. Having a lower time to kill for the best gear adds to the tension and increase the requirement of having good awareness of surroundings, which are skills that we expect players to develop as they progress through the game. But most of the feedback we got about time to kill in combat in general is that it felt good, although still perfectible. Yeah, I agree. So that's cool. They're reverting back their helmet change. I didn't think the helmet change was needed. I think that was a bunch of Tarkov players being really loud saying we want one-shot headshots, right? Or like more headshot damage. And while I understand that headshot damage should add a multiplier and you should be rewarded for hitting heads, I'm not saying you shouldn't. And faster time to kill. So when I say faster time to kill, I mean the amount of damage it takes to kill somebody is not that much, right? So faster time to kill, the dude dies faster, right? In my opinion, that takes less skill in most games, not all games, most games, than longer time to kill, right? The games where faster time to kill is still very skillful. I'm going to say like CSGO, Valorant, R6, things where aiming, right? Gunplay, things like that are really important, where it's a competitive environment. Where a faster time to kill in a game like this, which it's not a competitive environment game, we're not queuing into a competitive match. Fast time to kill, all that does is exacerbate the problem of I see you first, you die because I shot first, right? Slower time to kill allows you to outplay people. I've always said this and I've always believed this. Slower time to kill is where better players shine. Better players are able to use slower time to kill to be able to get out of sticky situations and turn the tide of a fight. So this is good. I like this. One of the points that came very often when reading the community feedback was that SMGs were too potent in too many situations. Yes, SMGs, because there's no damage fall off, which damage fall off plus penetration would probably add way too much complication to the damage numbers. If you remove penetration, maybe add damage fall off, I think that'd be fine, but besides the point. The problem with SMGs were that based on how penetration scales and the rate of fire of an SMG and the fact that there was no damage fall off, SMGs were basically laser beams. Because they shot so fast, they had the fastest rate of fire, they were able to use the penetration calculations faster, right? So they were putting out in the same amount of time that an assault rifle would put out, like say over a minute. An SMG would say, just for arbitrary numbers, because I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but let's say they would put out 2x the amount of damage than an assault rifle of the same tier shooting the same armor, just because of rate of fire, right? Just because of rate of fire, and because there was no damage drop off to stop that laser beam from going wherever it wanted to, right? That was the problem with SMGs. The main reason for this was certainly that we didn't have any damage fall off on weapons. Great. No matter the distance you were shooting your target at, your weapons always dealt the same amount of damage. Nice. We didn't want to use damage fall off at first to tune the range effectiveness of our weapons for two main reasons. To allow players that wanted to specialize in a weapon to be able to use it in most situations if they learn and master its recoil pattern. There's no such thing as recoil patterns in this fucking game, bro. Stop. Recoil patterns are pulled down. Like it's not a recoil pattern. We're not playing CSGO here, bro. All right. It's not happening. As we don't have any damage numbers showing on hit, again, I think that's a fucking bad decision. Anyways, As we don't have any damage numbers showing on hit, we wanted to have the consistency regarding the damage output of our weapons. So if players know that they need 10 hits with a specific weapon to kill someone with gray armor, that amount of shots wouldn't vary much depending on the situation, and they can rely on this knowledge. Yeah, that's fine, but I understand their goal here, or their point here. It did not work. What are they going to do to change it? To make it so different weapons are more effective at different ranges, we then use different tuning parameters, with recoil being in the end the parameter that has the most impact for automatic weapons. It is harder to land a shot on a target that is far away with weapons that have high recoil value. To that effect, we tuned most SMGs to have more recoil than assault rifles, for example. Oh my god. Yeah. Yep. I'm starting to think they don't play their game. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. This is really ringing the Crowfall bells to me, and I know a lot of you guys that are here might not know about Crowfall, but Crowfall always felt like the devs never played their fucking game, and I consistently read things and it feels like they don't play their game, and it's just reminding me of that situation. Showing damage numbers makes the game feel more arcadey, but I don't think that would hurt the game to feel more like that because it's already more stylized. 100%. The cycle is an arcadey game. That is why I like it. That is why a lot of people like it. That's why a lot of people are playing it that would never play Tarkov. It's because it's arcadey, right? I want to play a game that feels like a game. I don't want to play a fucking life simulation. You know what I mean? In the end, it didn't prove to be enough to differentiate the several types of weapons we have, as we potentially wanted to have SMGs with relatively low recoil, like the ASP Fletch gun, and that made them compete with assault rifles too well. Okay. So this first and most important change we want to make regarding our weapons is to make their damage fall off with distance. Great. All weapons except snipers will now be less efficient if shot from farther away than their intended effective range. Back to my original point of how penetration shouldn't be in the game. Now, not only does the player have to do a math calculation for every bullet that they shoot for penetration, they also have to do a math calculation for every bullet that they shoot for damage fall off, and combine them. And the way it works is it probably is damage fall off is the flat number, right? So like you have 10% range, 50% range, the rest of the way, right? And you have damage numbers for each one of those ranges, and then you have the penetration multiplier on top of those, right? That's how that works, most likely. I don't know how it would work otherwise. So it's the damage fall off first in the calculation, then penetration. Another related change is to reduce the damage input of all SMGs in order for other weapons to be able to compete with them in the same range. So they're not only giving SMGs damage fall off, they're also nerfing the damage on them. Okay. On top of that, we think our recoil reduction mods were too strong and allowed to compensate too easily for the high recoil value of some of our weapons. So we are tuning them down a bit. All right, well, maybe that's why recoil doesn't feel like it exists in this game, because of the mods. That could be why. I don't know, but I'd like the fact that me putting a mod on my gun made it feel better. So hopefully that doesn't change too much. We'll see though, I guess. Finally, we are working on individual changes on weapons in order to make more options viable. Based on your feedback and the data we gathered by tuning down the weapons that we felt were too strong, such as SMGs, while improving the weapons that underperformed. Yes, the Advocate is getting some love. Thank God, bro. That gun needs some work. In conclusion, these improvements should greatly reduce frustration coming from fighting at a disadvantage, while allowing for more weapons and different combat styles to shine on the planet. And we are impatiently waiting for you to be able to experience this new combat tuning and share your thoughts on the matter. You know what? Saw this show damage numbers. Damage numbers would be nice. Yeah. The point, this is my point. This is my overall point with a lot of my feedback I've given this game. Stop making it so players have no fucking clue what is happening. Stop saying, oh, that adds to the hardcoreness. No, motherfucker, it's stupid. It makes the game worse because it adds to the frustration for the players. And the players now don't understand what's happening when they're in a fight. It's not good. You can't hide shitty game design behind the fact of this is going to be hardcore. Are you sure? It's stupid. Oh, it's so dumb. Anyways. All right. Campaign progression adjustments. Hi, Prospectors Rumble here, in charge of activities on Fortuna 3. All right. Just dropping to say a few words on the topic of faction campaigns, one of the main new features introduced in Closed Beta 2. The main goals of the campaign were to provide players with a sort of red thread to red thread. What sort of red thread to progress? And I've never heard of that. Never heard of that analogy before, or saying whatever. Motivate them to go outside of their comfort zones on a regular basis, and of course also to offer those of you who want it a bunch of nice pieces of story and world building to dig into. I don't care about any of this. I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. I could care the fuck less about quests and campaigns. I don't care. Good news first. The campaigns delivered on those things pretty nicely. Players in closed beta 2 always had something to progress towards. That is true. You did always have something to progress to. Did I want to do it? No. Not at all. That's me though. I hate quests. Players in closed beta 2 always had something to progress towards. We forced into new areas to face bigger and bigger threats, and could dive into a lot of backstory and motivation of the three factions while unlocking some cool new stuff along the way. But of course, a feature as huge as faction campaigns with such a massive amount of content is bound to have some flaws when it first goes player facing. So what did we learn, and what will we do about it? All right. Grindness versus challenge. One common point of criticism that kept up in your feedback on campaigns again and again was the fact that some missions were just too grindy. Yep. I received complaints about having to go to the same area again and again to kill creatures there, or searching for the same areas of loot items with slow spawn rates again and again, until it became boring or even frustrating. Yep. I heard all of these things. I did not do them, but I heard. I mean, part of the reason maybe why I don't like questing is because of this. Questing is just not fun in my opinion, but maybe this is why it's not fun. Maybe they're going to make questing fun and I'll like doing it. I don't think I will though. Instead of a fun challenge to overcome, we wholeheartedly agree with the complaints and have already done multiple tuning passes to make sure it feels better next time you get your hands on the game. Bear with us. This stuff is very tricky to get 100% right on the first try, or we don't have a lot of data to look at as a basis for balancing. I mean, you should have a shitload of data from the closed beta. I don't really understand what that is. All right. Unclear hints in guidance. Another unnecessary source of frustration that we heard a lot while hanging out in Twitch streams and Discord channels was that confusion that came from players not being sure where to look for certain items or mission locations. My favorite example of this was us asking players to recover the meteor reactor notes from the power plant on Crescent Falls before realizing the power plant was the internal name and players only knew it as the geothermal plant. Yeah, that wouldn't work very well, would it? Yeah, that wouldn't go over very well. All right. We of course made sure to correct any discrepancies and unclarities that we were aware of. So please keep the feedback coming on this. Also, the hints on the missions telling prospectors where to look for certain items were not clear. Enough about the tiered nature of loot containers. Also, the hints on the missions telling prospectors where to look for certain items were not clear enough about the tiered nature of loot containers. Okay. Missions will now indicate whether an item can only be found in a certain container type in an area of a specific difficulty tier. We hope this will make us more straightforward. Okay, that's cool. They're going to tell you the container type and the difficulty tier of the area. Are they going to show us the difficulty tiers now, though? I know this is a thing, but it's not something that's like there. I mean, I guess it is there. When you enter an area, it says like high difficulty, medium difficulty, right? So I guess that is there, but I meant like more on like the map or whatever, but we'll see. Mission rewards. When going through the feedback that our lovely community team accumulated for us, we realized that we were being unnecessarily skimpy with the mission rewards. We want the faction campaigns to be motivating, worth the player's time, and something that encourages prospectors to keep going to get their hands on more cooler stuff. Okay, I'm down with more shit. That's cool. Because of this, we have added more items to the mission rewards. Next time you play through the campaigns, you will see more shields, helmets, guns, backpacks, consumables, and every now and then even key cards for your efforts. Oh, I like that. That's cool. That makes me want to do the quest. Will I do them? Probably not. That makes me want to do them though. Please let us know how this feels. Missions and jobs asking you to stash certain items have also been tuned to always be worth doing, whatever the investment. Okay, cool. Great. Unique missions. This last point does not directly come from criticism or complaints, more like something I have noticed and I thought I would let prospectors know. You all really seem to enjoy the unique missions. You know, the ones that send you to recover unique items or send you to unique locations. Yeah, because they were cool. They were different, right? Initially, we intended to just sprinkle a few of them into the campaigns in order to make the missions feel less generic and repetitive. But my current thoughts are that they actually enrich the game a lot for players. For this reason, we would like to increase the frequency of unique missions in future campaigns that we will create, as well as maybe even add a few more unique missions to the existing campaigns. No clear timeline on that yet. That's cool. That's cool. They're adding more unique things. I will say some of the unique things are like kind of dumb, but some of them aren't. So cool. I'm down. Things that aren't go here, kill this, or go here, pick up this are always in my, I always like that kind of stuff. So matchmaking and dropping on the planet. With both our data and the community feedback, we are now in a place where we feel we can make changes to how our matchmaking formulas work. Okay, this was another really big point of contention during the beta, and I want to add some spice and pepper to this. All right, so just straight up, I don't think matchmaking belongs in this game. I don't think it belongs in this fucking game. It's not a competitive game. Matchmaking systems in general are designed to put you against players of similar skill level to be able to have competitive gameplay. That is what matchmaking is. That is what MMR is designed to be. Okay. No matter how loose or how tight that matchmaking system is, that is always what it is, will be designed to be. What we found in the beta was that matchmaking either didn't work at all, right? And then people thought there should be matchmaking, so it was adding to frustration because they're like, I'm a new player, why am I in this fucking lobby with these chads, right? Because they thought matchmaking was a thing, or they thought it should work better, or you were only in lobbies with fucking chads all of the time because you were a chad, right? It was two complete sides of the spectrum. There was no middle, right? At all, ever. There was never a middle. It was either you're with fucking shitters and like one or two chads, or you're with chads. That's it. And there was no middle, right? I don't think matchmaking belongs in the game. I think the point of matchmaking for them, what they were trying to do was protect new players because it's going to be a free-to-play game, and they want new players to be able to come in and have a good experience. It makes sense if you think about it in a game design perspective. You want to be able to protect those new players from people that are skilled at the game, so that way they have a little bit of fun before they just get butt touched by everybody, right? I think they tried to do that with I think that was why they were implementing matchmaking, and I don't think that matchmaking accomplished that. So hopefully they remove, this is my hope, but we haven't gotten into this yet. Hopefully they're removing matchmaking, and then they're adding a system in place that protects new players and has them drop in just like new player lobbies for the first little while. Another big point of matchmaking was solos, duos, and trio lobbies, right? So there was no cross lobbies. I personally don't think that's a good idea. I understand the argument for it. I do. I understand the argument because it's a free-to-play game. People in the free-to-play genre coming from other games, right? Especially battle royales, which this game will pull a lot from because it's free-to-play. They're expecting, I'm in a solo lobby, I want to play with other solos, right? They expect that. I understand that is something that people want. I personally don't think it would be good for the game because it limits the amount of unique situations you can find yourself in. If I'm a solo and I go up against a trio, but the trio is bad and I can win, now I have so much more loot, and that feels really, really good, right? On the other side of that though, if that trio just rolls me, it feels bad because I can't win. But that also goes back to the gear scaling problem, right? And that's another point for matchmaking too, and we'll get into that in just a second. But if they're going to do certain lobbies where you're locked, if you're solo, duo, or trio, I think what you do is you combine duos and trios in the same lobby. You allow solos to drop by themselves. I don't want this to happen, by the way. I'm just saying this is what the solution would be in my mind if I had to come up with one. You allow solos to drop in a solo lobby, but then also allow them, if they want to drop in the duo or trio lobby. That will allow me and other people like me that don't give a fuck and want to drop in duo and trio lobbies the ability to do so. And it will give the crybabies that are bad at the game the ability to drop solo. I don't want that in the game. I'm just saying that would be a solution. Okay, so the next point of matchmaking is gear scaling. A lot of the problem with matchmaking as well comes into the fact that gear scaling was broken. Armor didn't matter. Penetration was broken. SMGs shot too fast, all that, everything we've already talked about in this video, right? So because gear felt so unbalanced, it also made matchmaking feel like it didn't work, right? So there's multiple ways they can go about this solution, right? And we just covered them all. Let's read this. Let's figure out what they want to do. That's where I'm coming from. That's my ideas, where I think they should go with it. And let's see what they have to say about it. We heard all sides of the equation here and believe we came up with something that will please most of you, if not all. They haven't been watching this video yet. I won't be honest with you. I love this fucking game. I hope you guys realize that. I'm just very passionate. I'm a very passionate person. And if I love something, I'm going to fight for it, for what I think is right. So that's all of my criticism that has been going on throughout this video comes from a place of, I want the game to be fucking great and incredible the way I think it can be. All right. So is here what we planned and implemented. All right, this is their plan. We always had the intention of protecting new players. While we did try to do so already, we felt we could have done better on this. So we extended our steps to make sure we protect new players for a bit longer and give them a smoother onboarding experience when entering the real game. Okay. In our opinion, onboarding during the closed beta 2 test was not smooth enough, and it should now be way better. We want new players to have the time to figure out what the game is about, how to behave with AI, and at least get a better sense of where to look while deploying on Bright Sands. You can use the cycledb.com to find out exactly where all the loot is on Bright Sands and on Crescent. We use our own specific protection method here, which will disappear once we feel are confident enough that you will be able to tackle the dangers of the alien planet on your own. It's also worth mentioning that the method will not protect returning players that learn the game, as we felt we would do a disservice to the new players joining us later on by doing so. So they're not going to tell us what the system is. I fucking bet you it's either extraction rate. It's probably fucking extraction rate multiplied by the amount, right? Or it's just number of drops you've done, right? They're not going to tell us what it is. All right. I like the fact that it's not going to affect like me and you and the people that have played this game before. I like that. So that way, I mean, we can just make new accounts and abuse it, but I'm not going to do that. Obviously, I'm just saying like that is nice that they're doing that. And I like that they understand that they need to protect the free to play new player that hasn't played the game before. I like that. I would like to know more about this system. I hate when game devs just do this shit where they're like, oh, we're not going to tell you what we're doing behind the scenes. Like, fucking dude, stop, bro. We're not idiots. Gamers aren't dumb, man. We want to know these types of things. We want to know the systems. At least I do. I don't know. Maybe most people are fucking stupid. I don't know. But I want to know this kind of stuff. All right. We have also decided to go with a bucket approach for matchmaking process. Purposes. All right. What it means for you is that now the player base will be divided into much larger buckets, allowing for more encounters along the way. We are also dividing those buckets in a way that cater to both our technical needs and the needs of our players, keeping the smooth beginner experience in mind. At least one of those buckets is dedicated to beginners only, while the other ones are centered around players' progression and overall experience. All right. So what do they mean by buckets? Right? So what do they mean by buckets? We're going to open up Paint again. So they have, this is how other matchmaking systems work when it's a bucket system, right? And this, you can look this up online. This is exactly how this fucking works. All right. So you have the player, right? This is you, chat. This is you, right? Look at you. Happy. You got a big wiener. You know what I mean? This is you, right? You are going to be in one of, they said it's larger buckets. So I'm assuming it's going to be maybe 3, maybe 4 buckets, maybe 4, including the new player. So this is the new one, right? So there's no crossover. This is just new players, right? Until they break out of this bucket, right? Whatever the stipulation is for that, right? And then they have the shitters, right? This is the shitters bucket, right? And it's going to be pretty big. So this is probably like your, this is your shitters. So this is probably where most of you will be in chat, right? This is where, you extract like less than 10K all the time. You get like 1 kill, a drop, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like, you're not like really good. You're not really bad. You're just fucking, you're kind of there, right? Then you have the average player, and I'm assuming there will be some crossover. Normal bucket matchmaking systems have a crossover. I don't know if there will be. There won't be any crossover here, but there might be a crossover for this. So like we'll do like a bucket like this, right? So like here's another bucket, right? So this is the normies, right? This is like you're getting 10k plus. You're getting like 2 something kills a game, 2 kill plus the games, right? Those are the normies, right? That's where like pi is, right? And then there's people like me and the actual good gamers, right? Where this is so fucking cringe. Okay, so where you'll have the top tier bucket, right? Where it's like this. But notice how it kind of has this waterfall, so you can be like here, right? Which is where you'll be in the shitter or the normies, or you can be in the normies and the gods, right? Right. But you will never be in the new. That's kind of how this works. And it's very wide. So this under 10k 1 kill, this is probably more of a range of like under 12k to like 6k type shit, 1 to 5 kills. This is like 20 to 30k, something like that, right? Like they're big ranges. That's how it works. So you'll fall into a slot on one of these. That's how bucket matchmaking works. That's my assumption of how they're implementing this. I'm sad that they're doing this. Again, this is similar to the penetration system. Spicy. Instead of actually trying to fix the problem, they are band-aiding the problem, right? And you see this consistently with game devs who are pushing for a launch. Instead of saying, man, this might not go over well, we should fix it. Let's put a band-aid on it, launch the game, and then fix it after. And what happens every single time that fucking happens, chat? Say it with me. The game fucking dies every single time. Every single time. I'm the dead game guy, man. Look at my YouTube channel. Look at my Twitch channel. How many motherfucking games have I played that have 0 players now? I understand. I know how this works. I can see the signs. I'm not saying that this game is going to die, but you continuously add systems like this and continuously add band-aids to shit. It all adds up. It all adds up. And then eventually the frustration overflows and players stop playing, right? All right. But also we are taking feedback to help us do some live balancing along the way. We certainly gave it a lot more thought already and figured out ways to make most of you processors happy. But we needed more tools to fine tune this experience along the way. And we are aiming to have what we need for that around the release. I'm not satisfied with this. It's just another one of those systems that players are just not going to fucking understand how it works, bro. And they're just going to get mad. They're going to be like, why am I in this fucking lobby? Why am I doing this? Because they don't tell us. The decision to just not share information because it's shitty game design is so bad, bro. It's so bad. It's like, man, if we share information, people will realize that we're doing something dumb. Like, no. Oh man, chat, when are we going to make our own game, bro? All right. We really hope that you will enjoy what we have created here, and we can't wait for you to test it once it goes live. Okay, we'll test it. We're gonna test it. We're also going live with our first dungeon. All right, cool. Dungeons are gonna be sick. I'm excited for dungeons. To explore it, you will have to complete the Osiris campaign in order to unlock the orbital cannon beacon needed to open an entrance. Expect to find darkness, difficulty, and rewards for your trouble, but be wary of whoever could enter behind you. We can't wait to have your feedback on this, as this is our first dive into high-end PvE content. So I like that they're trying to continue to do PvE content. I like that. That's cool. I'm down, right? As long as I can kill motherfuckers that are doing the dungeon, bro, I'm happy, bro. That's all. Like, I'm all for this world of PvE and PvP and having like fucking raids and dungeons and shit like that. And then also allowing me to kill motherfuckers and take all their shit. I'm all about that, dude. I think a lot of people might get frustrated by it, but I think gaming in general is more acceptable to this style of thing than it used to be, right? So like, I think this will work. I still think AI and creatures need some adjustments, but we'll see how it works in the dungeon. I'm excited to try it out. I haven't been in a dungeon yet. I'm excited to see what it's like though. All right. Social. On this front, we have good news. We are bringing back multiplayer station. Good. Fucking servers can handle it, huh? All right, cool. Next time we'll meet there, you'll be able to witness the splendor of our new goods and customization options for all prospectors. Sick. There's some fantastic eye candies waiting for you right at the corner, so you can finally backstab unwary prospectors while dripping with style. Jesus Christ. Who the fuck wrote that? Okay. Of course, as for many other topics, there are several other things in the works in that regard, but we are not ready to comment on them yet. Okay. And that's it for now, at least. Try and find us on Fortuna 3 if you can. It won't be that hard to find me. I'll be the player with the fanciest suit. Who knows? Maybe one of you will learn the secret cool stuff about the game while teaming up with one of us. Also, I definitely won't shoot you in the back as soon as the evac ship lands. I promise. See you all sooner rather than later. So no launch date. All right. All right. Let's hope there's more. I hope there's more changes. I hope the actual patch note changes are long and they just covered like the main points here, right? They were just trying to cover the main pain points of things in this, and there's actually a lot more. I really hope that's what it is. I hope that they're open to actually fixing some of these problems rather than just band-aiding them. I understand that they're trying to launch the game. And at least that is what it feels like to me, man. It feels like they're trying to get this motherfucker out. And I get that, and that's cool. And I want to play it. I want to play this game. I don't want to be playing anything else. I just want to play this fucking game, dude. And I want to play it. But how I've played so many games that have come out and a month later they are dead. They are gone, right? And I don't want that to happen in this game. So that's why I'm so passionate, and that's why I'm so vocal about stuff. I just want the game to be great, man. And I want it to be, I really think this game has potential to be like a smash hit, like something that, you know, I'm talking about like industry disruptors, right? Like when Fortnite came out, or when Apex came out, or when fucking, you know, these big games come out that changed Valorant, like when they changed like gaming in a way, right? Overwatch, when that came out, you know what I mean? There's games that hit, and when they hit, they hit hard, man, and everybody's playing it, right? And I really think this game could do that, but I'm just a little bit concerned. That's all. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. Click this for more videos that I make. Click down here to subscribe, and go over here for my Twitch. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace and love.